Nightwing 44. This is a biggie actually, because this is it's moved to single shipping, and this is the issue. Of course, it's the start of Benjamin Percy's run. Who, of course, we loved him in Green Arrow for nearly 40 issues. So this is exciting. We get Christopher Mooneyham on the art, and on the art, actually, the first thing I thought after a couple of pages of this was like, damn, this feels really 90s, and not in a bad way.
I think the whole premise is super 90s.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Like the whole, oh my god, this fear of technology, essentially.
But this is the thing, even before it got to the plot, though, when it was just that first couple of pages of him walking through Bloodhaven, and he's talking about the city, and he's talking about himself, like, and the art and the way his face is drawn, everything about it just felt 90s. And then you get to the plot, and it's like all that stuff as well.
So he feels a bit bigger, doesn't he? He's got a big jaw going on, and he feels a bit broader than usual. I mean, he's not, because he's usually quite athletic, right? Because he's the acrobat, but he feels a bit broader than usual here.
Yeah. And I think it's just artist style. Everyone feels a bit broad, to be honest.
Yeah, so that's also... I did not enjoy this art.
No? Don't like the art?
No, I'm not a fan. It's very reminiscent of me of JRJR. And it works in certain things, and in others it doesn't. Like, normally I would love that conversation between him and... Barbara? Mm. Yeah. And I like a lot of what they do. The layouts are fantastic.
I will critique one thing, though. I'll critique that page. We talk a lot about the 9-panel grid. This was like a 20-panel grid. I'll critique that's too many.
Yeah, it's 16.
Yes, it's way too many. But I like the callback, not the callbacks, but the shot comparisons. So like they're not parallel each other, but they match each other. So when it does a close-up of him, it's a close-up of her.
Oh yeah, it's movie making rules, shot and reverse shot. You always match the two people. So if you get a close-up of one, you have the close-up of the other, and so on. Yeah.
It's just it's kind of a clunky page though, because it's
just so much.
They don't move in that much. They're not that expressive. I think the art's pretty good in action, and it's got a good mood to it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the conversation like this, it kind of just grinds
all the stuff on the train when the light goes out and Nightwing changes into his costume, I thought all that looked great. I was into all that stuff. I can see the comparison to JRJR. I prefer it to JRJR though.
It's definitely inspired by that style, that era, though.
You definitely get that feeling to it, and I think the faces are probably the weakest part. But I think the action is where it kind of shines. Like I say, that stuff in the subway where it shoots up.
I think it's got some strong use of blacks and like really scratchy inks to play up the.
I like that. The colouring is probably my favourite part of it. Actually, is how the blue pops on the black and all that stuff. So, no, I love that Bab's going to be a supporting character in this. I like their conversation. I did appreciate the joke that she says he's like an old man because he doesn't like technology. And he corrects us, I'm actually 78 years old. Which is funny because Dick Grayson is actually 78 years old.
That's Percy. I love it.
If you track it back to when his first appearance was in Batman something or other. I can't remember what issue it was.
4.
It was early on. It may have been Detective Comics, whatever issue it was. But it was early. It was like a year or two into
Detective
Batman's.
34. I'm just throwing numbers out. I don't know.
He's like, that's 7 after the first appearance. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Why not? So that was a fun joke. And do you know what? I love that Dick actually called her out on her name being an old woman's name, because Barbara is an old woman's name.
Yeah.
So, points. Points to Percy for hitting the key points that no one else seems to. So, digging all that.
Well, one of my favorite touches in the art is actually from I don't know if it counts as art or lettering when it's the sound effects. But when he's doing his workout in the makeshift gym in the junkyard, and he drops the tire weights, and there's the big boom on the floor where he drops them. I thought that was a really nice touch.
I feel like that'll probably be the art rather than the lettering.
Yeah. Just in there. That said, I know how heavy an axle and tires are, and that's like strongman competition stuff.
It is. He's got 3 huge tires on there.
Let's tone it down there, Dick. Like, you're an acrobat. You need to be long and lean. Like, you ain't Mark Henry out there lifting the Atlas axle.
But it's fine because I assume with all the cyborg tech that we're getting into, he can just appear bulky. And inside, he is still an actor.
Yeah, so I thought that was this is very reminiscent of Percy's first arc on Green Arrow, where it was about the drones.
Yeah.
And and the flying people.
Yeah, because this one, all on the fact that of course someone was exploding cell phones on the subway.
Yeah.
We have this tech. It's called Phantasm. If there's no jokes related to the movie, I'll be disappointed. Percy, make sure they come. But it's basically a hologram projection for like rooms so they can look better. And like feel like fantasy, because when Dick gets a hold of one, because he gets a call or he hears about a crime scene, and Svoboda's still here, so we've still got the supporting cast in some capacity.
Oh my god! And Percy comparing her to Bullock.
Yeah.
There's a guy named Harvey. You ever met Harvey Bullock? You ever heard of him? I think you guys would make great friends. That was pretty great.
But he steals this Phantasm tech, and when he turns it on in his place, it turns into Wayne Manor, because it's like this nostalgia mode, and like Alfred's there to offer him some tea or whatever it is, and it's like, okay, alright, I can see what it's doing. And we end with this cliffhanger where the controller actually turns into like a little robot spider and like drills its way into him, so we're getting ultra sci-fi next issue, I think.
That look where, okay, the thing goes into him and then his eyes will light up, I was like, okay, this is 90s as shit.
It's very 90s.
Yeah, so his cyborg dude that came to lift with him, definitely involved in something, right?
Definitely involved, His client's this dude who's got like a cyborg guy and like an arm. He's got a robotic arm,
I do like the comparison back to Percy's first arc on Green Arrow, though, because that was, the drones, it was more about establishing that this person will commit a crime, so we should just take them in now, before they do it. Whereas this is, it's again that fear of technology and the evolution of it. But it's like, this is instead of, okay, how's it making everyone really insular? And as a society, how's it making everyone focus on their own thing, their own phone, instead of communicating with people in a different way?
Yeah. Well, I like how he goes to get the sandwich from that shop, and then the guy who shows him the technology, it's just like, oh, okay, no one's gonna eat the sandwich. Like, so that was a fun moment. Like, Percy's already establishing his comedic stuff too.
Also, props to Dick for admitting that he works out the way he does so he can eat like a pig. I fully approve of that mentality.
Yeah. Also, his real hatred of technology, the fact that there's no phone booths for him to change anymore.
Oh yeah, I love that complaint. Yeah. Yes, the lights go off in the subway. He's like, okay, the lights are out. I can change. I can just quickly change it.
The tearaway stripper pants.
Tearaway stripper pants. That's it.
It's really well written. I wish I liked the art more. The art really took me out though. So, but it's just a personal preference. I don't necessarily think it's bad art. It's just not for me.
I think I was into it because it fit the 90s vibe the story was going for, and it should be consistent because it is monthly now, so we'll come back next month.
I like the tone and the action. I'm not a big fan of the faces. It is especially notable on that page with all of it, but the lips are kind of a mess. But it's there throughout. But even Svoboda at the end, like huge lips all of a sudden.
Yeah, they're very exaggerated. I think the art does have a style though, where it's very consistent with itself, if that makes sense. Where I don't like the lips necessarily, but it feels consistent, and like it always seems to be this type of exaggerated. So, But I'm into the overall style of it. All the action looks great, and I'm excited for what Percy's got planned for what will hopefully be a long run and not another. Oh, by the way, this is only one arc after half the arc's done.
Yeah, I like Percy
a
lot.
Too much to be that.
Yeah, so hopefully this is a nice long run. And it's funny because you compare it to JRJR, and interestingly, the variant cover is by JRJR, and it's one of the best things he's drawn in a while because it's mostly in darkness,
kind of fantastic.
So it kind of fits his style because it's hiding the weaknesses almost.
Yeah, because the only bit of the face you can really see is the eye mask.
Yeah. So it fits his style, and it's one of these new naked variants where there's very little info on the cover.
They call them virgin variants.
Virgin variants. Yeah, Nightwing was very good though. Just to wrap that up, I'm excited for the rest of the run.